Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. We're talking about COVID-19, like I said earlier. And it's quite interesting that we'll be talking about the impact of COVID-19 on religious activities across Nigeria. Let's take Nigeria, for example, because we are cut from a different cloth and we take instructions differently from the rest of the world. When the world went on a break, as a matter of fact, when activities across the world was granted to a halt, Nigerians screamed and cried out, and it looked as if we were the only ones, feeling the biggest brunt of the impact. Then the conversation began. Let's not copy the rest of the world. We can do this better. We can adopt our own means. We can do that. Lo and behold, the more we were locked down, people sneaking out, people coming about, people still doing activities in churches, COVID-19 kept spreading. And so the government said, let's shut it down. Activities all around. Did Nigerians comply? Did they not comply? These are some of the issues we'll be discussing with our guest, who is the national spokesperson of the Jehova'S Witnesses this morning. I'm talking about Mr. Olusegun Eru Yemi. Good morning, sir. Good to have you here.
Good morning, Tomisi. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure having people who can critically look at issues like this. Now, let's talk about COVID. COVID-19 in Nigeria, you had my intro, and we're looking at how religious organizations, first of all, took it. From your perspective, how was it received by the religious organizations in Nigeria?
Well, I can talk about us as Jehovah's Witnesses, and we didn't even wait for the government to place any restriction before we imposed restrictions globally. March 16 was when all our activities were shut down. In other words, our in-person meetings, our door-to-door preaching, for which we are known, we didn't have to wait. As soon as it was declared a pandemic, we knew it and we stopped it. I mean, you can imagine if we were going on door-to-door, we would have been super spreaders of COVID, don't you think?
So you're saying that from March 16, 2020, you totally shut down activities?
That's right. In other words, our in-person activities, all our larger gatherings, meetings at the Kingdom Hall, everything we would do in person was shut down.
Wow. Now, that's a really serious one, because I know quite a number of churches that battled and struggled with that for a while. Now, the idea was it was a battle against the church. You didn't see that. You didn't assume that COVID was a battle against the church. I mean, we know of pastors who spent time preaching on COVID and talked about COVID being a problem to the rest of the world, particularly Christians.
We see it as a battle against us. We view life as sacred. Life for us is sacred, and we have to protect our lives and protect the lives of other persons. We would visit people in their homes because we love them, we want them to learn about God, and we thought if we love them truly, we shouldn't go to their homes and either infect them or get infected and afterwards infect other people. So it was just natural that we would need to stop that method of preaching or the method of gathering from in our kingdom halls. And that was done 2 years ago.
For 2 years, you're basically telling us right now that for 2 years, Jehovah's Witnesses did not knock on any door, did not stand at the bus stop to distribute pamphlets and magazines, the Awake magazine, and they did not, do any form of meetings at the hall. How then were you meeting? How?
Yeah, you're right, Mr. We didn't meet physically, but we kept meeting virtually. We learned to use Zoom, we learned to use breakout rooms, we did our normal preaching or Bible studies using virtual platforms. It meant spending more money, naturally, because you'd have to buy data, so to communicate. Our preaching work did not stop, it continued, but it was virtual. Our meetings continued. All congregations all over the world, 8.6 million Jehovah's Witnesses, were meeting virtually.
You know, this is quite an interesting conversation for those who are just joining us this morning on the Bumper Breakfast. We're talking about COVID-19 and its activities, the impact on religious activities. And I have two people, with me on the set this morning. And I'm just interested in asking, first of all, Rio, how did you spend the lockdown as far as churches were concerned?
Well, firstly, a pastor said we learn how to say good morning in the night because they have to go to the church to go and record. And I was speaking a verse, we were all joining. I think it was more beneficial for the networks because a lot of data were exhausted. And then I feel they gain more during the time. And perhaps the only way we spend it that it wasn't boring, because aside from we that are media personalities, after coming on radio or TV, they go back home.
Of course, we'll go back home.
So the next thing everybody gets to do is to pick up your phone, then go to social media, Instagram, TikTok.
I remember many people began churches on social media at that point in time.
Of course.
Many people began religious conversations.
Of course, taking, what's it called, offering, bringing out account numbers on guests. I know you have to understand, even though we even tell you, still pay your title. I was wondering, well, we're not working, but we still pay tithe. And then it's true. I noticed last week somebody said something on social media and said, who other person noticed that we've not been seeing Jehovah's Witnesses coming out? And now everybody now said, that is true. What's up? We're novice. We don't know what was going on.
Exactly.
Something
that means they adhered strictly.
So imagine the numbers of people that joined their Zoom.
8.6 million.
8.6 million.
Now, Mr. Eroyomi, I needed to have that conversation with my colleagues right here because it's interesting that a lot of people did not notice until much later. COVID-19 lockdown ended in 2020. What stopped you from coming out?
Well, the truth is, we did say that what initiated our lockdown was sacredness of life. We didn't want to be a risk to anyone. Our method of work would require we go to knock on people's doors. Remember, we thought COVID was over until the Delta variant came. Next, we thought it was over and the Omicron variant came. So we didn't want to prematurely open our facilities because we just knew that there would be another round. And as it kept coming, we're listening to health authorities and what they said about it. We didn't want to rush into it. And that's why it's unique that right now that we do not have as much infection as we used to have. We don't have many persons who are vaccinated. And so it's time for us to start one aspect of our work, which is to meet in person at our Kingdom Halls. And that takes effect from April 1st, 2022. So that's 2 years after we will now go to our Kingdom Halls. So that date is unique for Jehovah's Witnesses.
So April 1st, you guys are expected to go back to the Kingdom Halls for meeting. You're looking at 120 congregations across 239 countries in the world. What's the reaction of the congregants?
Well, you can be sure that they're very joyful, extremely joyful. It's true that we have had productive meetings during this period that we were not going to the Kingdom Hall, but it's not the same, Tommy. It's not the same for you to see people face to face. You can just look at them on the screen. You can't feel them. You can't see the smile. You can't hug them. You can do so many things you want to do with your friends and brothers. And this time it allows us to see ourselves physically, to watch the emotions. On Zoom, you can just knock off the camera if you don't want people to see what you look like. If you're looking sad, you just knock it off. But you do need to have somebody see your face and say, are you okay, dear? Are you fine? Are you all right? Is everything fine with you? So while Zoom or virtual meetings are beautiful, nothing can be compared to seeing face to face and communicating and reading the emotions.
Yes, we're very much with you. Mr. Riyemi, are you still there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, yes. Now, you see, it's quite interesting that we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and that you guys are about to come together on April 1st. But I'm concerned, over the last 2 years, how did you stay united? The biggest fear, which my friend Rio didn't want to say, the biggest fear of most of the pastors who were talking during this period is simply that they do not, they fear of their members will filter away, or their members would run away, or the members will backslide, or the members will lose focus, or they would. Miriam, not me, it's Miriam. Miriam says even the money part, the tithing and offering was also a fear, according to Miriam, for some pastors. Miriam, is that not what you said? You did sign like this. Why are you laughing again? Now, it's quite interesting that you didn't do all of this during the 2 years of hibernation. How did you stay united as a people?
Jehovah's Witnesses are known for communicating. We communicate in the languages that people can understand. About 500 languages we use to make sure that our brothers know what's going on. We get updates regularly. For example, every Jehovah's Witness, every part of the world would know at certain time how many persons have been infected, how many of our own persons have been infected by the virus, what are the government authorities saying, what are some things we should do at this moment. We call it monthly updates, and that is communicated to all our congregations virtually. So because we were always communicating, we always hear from our world headquarters what is going on, what next steps we should take. That kept us united. But most importantly, love is the beautiful factor. And instead of looking for resources, as you rightly mentioned, that maybe some persons want to get some money from congregants, we rather expend the resources so as to ensure that people are cared for. As you know, people got affected, people lost their jobs, companies downsized.
Most definitely.
And so we established what you call relief ministration. Any of such person who's affected, the congregations around will come close to the individual, and we had statistics. We got to know who and who is in trouble. Instead of looking for how much you're going to give to the organization, the brotherhood would ensure that those who had challenges were cared for at the time.
You see, just into the struggles of the COVID-19 has revealed so much about so many organizations, including marriages. Let's not forget, COVID-19 did reveal quite a lot about people, about friendships, about marriages, about organizations, about religious organizations, if I dare say. And then at the end of the day, what has it revealed about Jehovah's Witnesses? What's that unique thing that it has revealed about you guys?
Well, it has revealed that we can cope with crisis. I mean, we didn't expect it would last this long. We didn't think it was going to last for 2 whole years. But it did. And we didn't know how much we could achieve during this period. But we have achieved quite so much. For example, within this period, we've been able to translate the Bible globally into 77 extra languages in addition to what we had before. One of those languages is Igbo language. It's a Nigerian
Amazing.
language. So the work on translation continued.
Wow.
The entire Bible is available in Igbo and 77 others. This is within this period. And so we wouldn't imagine we could achieve all of that. But it simply shows that when there is a challenge, don't give up. There'll always be an alternative. Pray about it, look for another way out. And this has just told us that yes, we can survive, we can cope in the midst of extreme challenges.
You see, I'm quite interested in the fact that you're resuming activities on April 1st. If you resume on April 1st in person, are you going to be doing door-to-door too? Are you knocking on doors?
That's a good question. That's something for which Jehovah's Witnesses are known.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know
that's the first thing we know about you.
Yet, because we're not resuming that right away. For now, we'll be meeting. And we're still watching. I'm not very sure that you are ready for a knock on your door right now. People still have their anxious moments regarding it. And so, as we watch the situation and we receive direction from our global body, now we'll know what to do.
Okay, we're still talking to Mr. Olusegun Eroyomi, and we've been talking about...
We have, in all our kingdom halls, we have wash hand stations. orientation on how to go about that. We ensure that people would put on face masks and a good number of vaccinated. Now, that's not a requirement. It's a personal decision, but very many are vaccinated already. And so we just keep maintaining this one first. We'll watch how it goes, and we'll see whether we're going to get back. But we still do our Bible studies with our friends. We still keep doing it virtually. Even the meetings we're going to do now will still be done in a hybrid format. In other words, if you can't come to the Kingdom Hall because of your age, because you're an older person or you're confined to a nursing home, the provision is made available such that you can connect through video conferencing. So while all of us hope to go physically, but if you're restricted because of health or other factors, or because you just are not feeling well at that moment, or because you're not up to it yet, because you're still anxious, am I safe? For whatever reason you don't want to come physically, you can still connect to your congregation virtually. So that's why we call it a hybrid form. In-person meeting, and we still have
the online
video conference.
All right. Any events coming up? Any special events coming up now that you are resuming, globally? Is there any special thing you have planned to further put people in the scheme of things?
Exactly, and that's one of the motivating factors for our resuming in-person meetings. On April 10th, we're going to listen to a special talk, and that talk is designed to give us hope. And the talk is basically on how we can find real hope. It's April 10th, the week of April 4 down to 10. All congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses all over the world are going to listen to that special talk.
Okay.
And the talk is titled, it's titled, Where Can You Find Real Hope? Where can you find real hope? Among other things, it's going to explain why we need such hope, why there is so much suffering in the world, what hope we can get from the Bible, why can you even trust the Bible? That's April 10th. And then on April 15th, which is a Friday, the most important event among Jehovah's Witnesses is a commemoration of the death of Jesus Christ. So globally, we're having that as well after sundown. So April 10th and April 15th are very important
special
days for
events.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
All right, just before I let you go, people have so many misconceptions about so many religious organizations. Your organization tops the list. Jehovah's Witnesses, I want to tell you, there's this one, there's that, and people have this hostility, that they've even put up before you get to their doors. For those who would like to genuinely know more about Jehovah's Witnesses and find out who you are, what you are all about, how do they find that out without having to do in person with you?
Well, you can go to our website. It's www.jw.org. You can find videos and audio materials, over 600,000 audio and video materials are on that website, and you can download for free whatever questions you have. There are articles that relate to family life, relate to health, relate to all kinds of things that can help you to build a relationship with Jehovah and family. They are available on our website, and of course they're available in various languages. Now for you to miss it, you can download songs or any publication in Yoruba language that's what you speak perfectly. You can download in Tiv, you can download in Igbo, and several languages. Our website is the most translated website in the world. It's available in over 1,000 languages.
Excuse me? Over how many languages?
1,000 languages.
1,000 one website translated into 1,000 languages. I mean, I can make a selection of a Yoruba version.
Yeah.
Wow,
you
amazing.
Can just change the language and you have everything you want in that particular language. And of course, we're still counting. Our belief is that you can reach people's heart in the languages they understand most. It's true we both are speaking English right now, but I know that when I get out to the street and I meet somebody from Warri, for example, I'm not going to speak Pidgin English with the person.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak Pidgin with the person. That's the language he understands best. And if I meet somebody who's not as impeccable in speaking English like you, I'll speak Yoruba with that individual.
Definitely.
And whatever the person speaks, if I understand it, so to reach people's heart, to influence them, It is the language of their heart that you can use.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olusegun Iroyomi, for joining us on the Bumper Breakfast this morning. It's been a very, very full conversation, and I'm quite glad that we got to do this. He's one of our seniors in the business. He's actually a broadcaster himself, but based on what we're talking about, he's talking about the national spokesperson of the Jehovah's Witnesses across the world. Miriam, say what you want to say. Say.
Twale Ogami, sir.
Miriam is doing Twale.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
It's a
Thank you for
pleasure.
having me on this program.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We look forward to having you once again, maybe sometime after 3 months. Let's see how Jehovah's Witnesses have adjusted to coming back to the congregation and to the hall. Have a beautiful day, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye. All right, we've been talking to Mr. Olusegun Iroyomi, and we've been talking about COVID-19 and religious activities, how Jehovah's Witnesses particularly are resuming for the first time in-person services on the 1st of April after 2 years of being permanently locked down and restricted to online services. It's been an interesting conversation, but of course, it's Friday, and when we come back, we're talking to Somi Oranta.
Hi, sir.